On Thanksgiving of 2021, my mom called, and we were having a nice little conversation, and just, chit-chat, and my mom said, "Have you seen Bunny's latest video?" And I said, "I don't know Bunny." "Bunny who?" So my mom told me about the dog using buttons to talk. She said, "Oh, I thought you'd be interested. I really thought you'd be watching Bunny." And I said, "Well, okay, I'll go and I'll watch Bunny." She said, "Well, make sure that you see the video that where Bunny is talking about the stranger in her paw." And I said, "Stranger in her paw? That just doesn't make any sense." But I, to please my mother, I went to YouTube and looked for What About Bunny. I was hooked. Stranger in her paw. That was the best video she could have chosen for me to watch. I have always talked to my dogs and cats. Right now I just have cats, or I did have cats when I talked to my mother. I've always talked to them just like they're children, and they all understand everything I'm saying to them. They always have. Well, I was interested. I was extremely interested. So the first thing I did was start looking for other animals that talked with buttons. And I found Miss Hunger's book, of course, How Stella Learned to Talk, and I read that immediately. And after that, I had to have some buttons, so I ordered buttons right away. But I also looked to see if other people were teaching cats to talk. So I found Billy and Russell of Catman John, and I thought, well, yeah, we can do this. So I got started, and Jake was my first talker, but it took several months, and by the time we got to it, I thought, well, they're never going to learn. And about the time I was ready to give up, Jake pressed his first button. He walked across and said, "Cookies." And I jumped right up and got him some cookies, and the rest is history. We have Jake talks very well with the buttons, but we have 3 cats right now that are using buttons. Jake, Zoe. Zoe is deaf, and she has started using the buttons, and Wash, who is our youngest male cat. And I'm sorry about the barking in there. Kaylee is not happy about not being in the room here. Anyway, we have now 2 dogs. I thought it would be just really fun to have a couple of dogs learning to use the buttons. And Rio was our first, and he just took off. He'd been here 2 weeks when he pressed his first button. Kaylee started playing on the buttons when she first got here the first day, and she learned that in just a few days, she learned that pressing a button would get my attention. She didn't know what any of them meant, of course, but she knew that any of those buttons would get my attention, and they did. And we just kept modeling, and she's picked it all up. She's already using about 14 words, and I expect more every day. We are up to 74 buttons on our soundboard, and I'm just as pleased as could be. Everybody's a lot happier, except for Kaylee at this particular moment, but she'll be okay. And I have never looked back. I have been just thrilled with the results, and best thing I ever did. Best.